What if I told you a $3,800 car from 1969 is now worth $800,000? And what if I told you our number 3 car had an engine that cost more than most complete cars back then? 1969 was the peak of American muscle, 400-plus horsepower monsters that could destroy anything on the street. I'm counting down the 10 quickest factory muscle cars you could actually buy, and the performance numbers will shock you. Make sure you stick around for numbers 3 and 1, because when you hear these facts, you won't believe they're real. Hit subscribe for Muscle Legend Drive, because this countdown is insane. Number 10, 1969, Ford Mustang Mach 1428 Super Cobra Jet. Starting our countdown is Ford's answer to the horsepower wars. The Mach won with the Super Cobra Jet. While Mustang offered 11 different engines in '69, from a mild 120 horsepower 6-cylinder to the thunderous 429, the Super Cobra Jet was where things got serious. This wasn't your daddy's Cobra Jet. Ford took their already potent 335 horsepower 428 and gave it the full race treatment. Oil cooler for extended high RPM runs, beefed up internals that could handle serious abuse, and drag-specific gear ratios of 3.91 or 4.301 that turned your Mustang into a legitimate quarter-mile weapon. The result? A blistering 13.69-second quarter-mile at 103.4 miles per hour, numbers that would make today's fast SUVs weep with shame. Back in '69, this blue-collar rocket cost just $4,300. Today, you'll need $170,000 to park one in your garage. That's a 3,853% increase, better than any stock market investment. Number 9, 1969, Plymouth GTX 440. In 1969, going commando meant something completely different. It meant you had Plymouth's ultimate gentleman's muscle car, the GTX, with a thundering 440 cubic inch V8 under that aggressive hood scoop. The GTX was Plymouth's upscale muscle machine, more refined than the budget Roadrunner, but just as vicious where it counted. That single 4-barrel carburetor fed 375 horsepower to the rear wheels through Chrysler's bulletproof TorqueFlite automatic or Rock Crusher 4-speed manual. Available as both a hardtop and convertible, the GTX proved that luxury and brutality could coexist beautifully. It conquered the quarter mile in 13.56 seconds at 104.9 miles per hour, fast enough to embarrass most of today's sports cars while looking absolutely stunning doing it. Originally $3,700 in 1969, a clean GTX today commands around $90,000, proving that sometimes the more civilized choice becomes the more valuable one. Number 8, 1969 Dodge Super Bee 446 pack. Here's where Dodge got downright diabolical. The Super Bee 446 pack, introduced mid-year as the A12M code option, was Chrysler's direct assault on the drag strips of America. Starting with their already potent 440, Dodge's engineers went full mad scientist. They strengthened every internal component, bumped power to 390 horsepower, and then, here's the genius part, topped it with 3 2-barrel Holley carburetors. This wasn't just about power, it was about theater. During normal driving, only the center carburetor worked, keeping things civilized. But mash that throttle and all 3 carbs roared to life, dumping 1,350 cubic feet per minute of fuel and air into those hungry cylinders. The sound alone could wake the dead. The result was a 13.56-second quarter mile at 105.8 miles per hour. Identical to the GTX, but with more drama and attitude. At $3,800 new, today these 6-pack monsters command $110,000 at auction. Number 7, 1969 Chevrolet Corvette L88. Some purists argue the Corvette isn't a muscle car, it's a sports car. But when you're packing 427 cubic inches of aluminum-headed fury that makes a factory-rated 430 horsepower, but actually produces closer to 560, you've earned your place in muscle car heaven. The L88 was Chevrolet's barely legal race car for the street. Those aluminum heads, the special air induction system, and compression ratios that demanded racing fuel weren't suggestions, they were requirements. Run pump gas in this beast, and you'd be shopping for a new engine. but for those brave enough to feed it the high-octane diet it craved, the L88 delivered quarter-mile performance that was simply devastating, 13.5 seconds at 111.1 miles per hour. In an era where most cars struggled to break into the 13s, the L88 made it look effortless. At $5,700 new, expensive even by 1969 standards, these ultra-rare Corvettes now command $425,000. And don't forget to budget $10 per gallon for that racing fuel it still demands. Number 6, 1969, Dodge Charger 500 426 HEMI. With only 67 built, the Charger 500 with the legendary 426 HEMI is rarer than hen's teeth and twice as valuable. This wasn't just a muscle car, it was a NASCAR homologation special disguised as a street machine. Dodge took their iconic Charger and gave it a complete aerodynamic makeover. The flush-mounted rear window and coronet nose cone weren't just for looks. They were wind tunnel-tested modifications that made this Charger a force on super-speedways like Daytona and Talladega. But it wasn't just fast on NASCAR ovals. That 426 HEMI, the engine that struck fear into the hearts of competitors everywhere, could demolish the quarter mile in just 13.48 seconds at 109 miles per hour. At $4,300 when new, these ultra-rare Chargers now require $220,000 to own, assuming you can even find one. With only 67 ever built, spotting one is like finding automotive treasure. Number 5, 1969, Ford Mustang Boss 429. The name says it all, Boss. When Ford needed to homologate their monster 429 engine for NASCAR competition against Chrysler's dominant HEMI, they created perhaps the most legendary Mustang of all time. But fitting a 429 cubic inch semi-HEMI engine into a Mustang wasn't easy. Ford had to extensively modify the engine bay, relocate the battery, and completely re-engineer the front suspension. The result was a nose-heavy beast that looked stock but was anything but. On the drag strip, the Boss 429 was devastating, 13.3 seconds at 107 miles per hour. More importantly, it gave Ford the ammunition they needed to compete with Chrysler in NASCAR, where aerodynamics and horsepower determined Sunday's winner. Originally $5,000, serious money in 1969, Boss 429 Mustangs now sell for $450,000 and climbing. With only 859 ever built, they're not just cars, they're rolling pieces of American racing history. Number 4, 1969, Plymouth Roadrunner 426 HEMI. Warner Brothers' cartoon Roadrunner met Plymouth's ultimate street predator, and the result was pure magic. The HEMI Roadrunner, with its air-grabber hood and distinctive beep-beep horn, was named Car of the Year in 1969, and it earned every bit of that recognition. With only 787 HEMI Roadrunners built, this was Plymouth's ultimate expression of the budget muscle car concept. The Roadrunner was designed to be affordable performance, but when you checked the HEMI option box, affordable went out the window. That 813 HEMI option added serious attitude to an already potent package. The result was a car that could sprint through the quarter mile in 13.32 seconds at 107.65 miles per hour, numbers that would humble most modern sports cars. Originally $4,500 with the HEMI option, these Roadrunners now command $170,000 at auction. True to its cartoon namesake, the HEMI Roadrunner was wickedly fast and always stayed one step ahead of the competition. Number 3, 1969, Chevrolet Camaro COPO ZL-1. Here's that insane fact I promised you, and you're not going to believe this until you hear it. The COPO ZL-1 Camaro's engine option alone cost $4,000 in 1969. That's more than what most complete cars cost back then. Can you believe someone actually paid more for just the engine than what others paid for an entire vehicle? But here's why. Only 69 of these monsters were ever built with the ultimate ZL-1 all-aluminum 427 engine. This wasn't just a muscle car. It was a factory drag racer disguised as a street machine, producing 430 rated horsepower, but actually making much more. The quarter-mile times were absolutely devastating, 13.16 seconds at 110 miles per hour. In 1969, those numbers could embarrass Corvettes, destroy Mustangs, and leave everything else in the dust. At $7,300 total when new, today you'll need $800,000 to own this piece of drag racing royalty. That's over 10,000% appreciation, better than any investment you could have made. Number 2. 1969 Chevrolet Camaro SS L89. Sometimes the most overlooked options become the most valuable. The L89. Camaro SS was one of those sleeper options that smart buyers recognized, even if the general public didn't quite get it. Starting with the potent L78 396, producing 375 horsepower, Chevrolet added aluminum heads and higher compression for the L89. The power stayed the same, but the engine lost 50 pounds, a significant advantage for serious drag racers who understood that weight reduction equals performance. The result was a Camaro that could conquer the quarter mile in exactly 13.0 seconds at 108.6 miles per hour, breaking into the exclusive 12-second club that separated the real performance cars from the pretenders. Only 311 buyers were smart enough to check the L89 option box in 1969, paying an extra $400 for seemingly no power gain. At $3,800 total, those buyers made one of the best investments in automotive history. Today, L89 Camaros sell for $220,000, proving that sometimes the best performance comes in the most understated packages. And now, before we reveal our number 1 quickest muscle car of 1969, make sure you're subscribed to Muscle Legend Drive and hit that notification bell. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming up in our future videos. We're just getting started on this incredible journey through automotive history. Number 1. 1969 Plymouth Roadrunner 446 pack. This Roadrunner destroyed the quarter mile in just 12.91 seconds at 111.8 miles per hour. That's faster than most modern sports cars, costing triple the price today. A budget muscle car from 1969 embarrassing today's supercars. This beast packed the same 446 pack engine as the Dodge Super Bee, 3 two-barrel carburetors, race-strengthened internals, and 390 horsepower. But in the lighter Roadrunner body, it became an absolute quarter-mile destroyer. In 1969, breaking into the 12-second zone was legendary territory, faster than Corvettes, Camaros, or anything else from any showroom floor. Originally $3,800, today these monsters command around $150,000 at auction. Still seems like a bargain for the quickest production muscle car of 1969. What made 1969 so special wasn't just the cars. It was the attitude. These weren't just transportation, they were statements. They said you believed in American ingenuity, in pushing boundaries, in the idea that more power was always better than less. Today's supercars might be faster, but they'll never capture the raw, emotional connection of these 1969 legends. These weren't built by computers. They were built by passionate engineers who understood that the sound of a big block at full song was worth more than any efficiency rating. Thanks for joining us on this epic ride through 1969's fastest muscle cars. Hit that subscribe button for more legendary automotive content. But here's the crazy part. Just years after these masterpieces, American automakers built cars so disastrously bad they literally gave away the entire market. We're talking vehicles that caught fire, rusted instantly, and engines that self-destructed. Want to see these automotive nightmares? Click the video on your screen now to discover the 10 worst American cars that destroyed an entire industry.